Today's Editor's Note podcast is brought to you by Swamp Thing Septic Systems. We won't mind your smell, as long as you don't mind ours.
Welcome to the Editor's Note Comics Podcast, the only podcast coming from Central Maine's best comic book store by default. My name is Zach. With me is my co-host, Jared.
Local internet celebrity, Jared. Excuse me very much.
You're wearing a hat and sunglasses. Also, we're indoors. You're really doing a lot to prevent the sun from getting in your eyes.
I wear my sunglasses at night.
It is night, also.
So I can. Did you get your fill of America yesterday, 4th of July?
I think we grilled.
We did grill. We grilled. We drank. I'm having some hair of the dog here to help mitigate the effects of all the patriotism we engaged in.
You have like 5 different tan lines going on.
I do. It's kind of like shading.
Is that a beater tan? Is that what I just saw? Yeah.
No, it's not a beater tan. I was just wearing a straight up tank top today. I'm sorry about that. It's a family show. Oh, no.
Keep your clothes on.
You made some damn good hamburgers. You know, if the comic book store thing doesn't work out, you could make hamburgers.
I have one.
Zach Burgers.
He knows how to grill one very specific burger pretty well.
It's damn good burgers. But little chunks of pineapple and bacon in it.
It's infused marinades.
It's and over coals.
Gets all up in your mouth.
Although I think the most dangerous thing you did is leave me in charge of the coal firing for a while.
Yeah, I said, hey, make sure these are lit. Then I see you out the window just flames shooting out of the grill because you're spraying lighter fluid on it.
Hey, you said they were lit. They needed to be lit, and they were lit. The 5-foot flame was irrelevant, but...
You definitely got that going. I don't want to look outside like, my porch on fire?
No, just the tree. Just the tree. It wouldn't be the first time that we've almost set a tree on fire.
But no one ever needs to know.
It's true.
That was the thing. That was like 30 feet, though.
That was, well, there's a difference between camping gas, camping fuel, and lighter fluid.
Yeah, no kidding.
A significant. Anyway.
I feel like we don't really have to cover our week. How's the last 20 hours been? You slept for some of it.
Yeah, and struggled when I woke up. But we're here.
Can't imagine why. Family-friendly show, ladies and gentlemen.
There was a headache bug going around.
No reason. As we do each and every week, we are going to get into the news.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
It's time for the news.
Time for the news.
I know. I hear the sound clip in my head. It's like, it's time. Well, that's not our sound clip.
No.
As I say each and every week, kind of a light news week, but I think there's a reason.
It's summertime?
Well, yeah, pretty much, because everyone who's going to have news right now is saving it for San Diego.
That's right. When is that? It's coming right up around the corner, isn't it? A couple weeks?
Yeah, it's like 2 weeks away. Why would you do any news announcements right now?
Breaking news, though, from the show. We are not going to be at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, no kidding. I've never done San Diego. I have no interest.
Why not?
Too big. It's too commercially. The biggest show I've done is New York, and that was even right before New York kind of blew up as...
You wouldn't go? Like, if somebody said, here, fly out to San Diego and go to Comic-Con.
If someone said, fly out to San Diego and do it, yeah, absolutely. But the idea of doing it independently, it's not...
Would you bring a table from the store? Or would you just go as a straight-up fan?
No, I mean, if I was doing that stuff now, that's the downside of the store doing this stuff. It's like I kind of lose out on that aspect. I'm like, oh, how can I make this into money?
Oh, well, I mean,
plus,
I think it'd be fun to go to Comic-Con.
Yeah, I like doing medium-sized shows. Those are more my jam.
Like the one you did in Bangor?
That one was even a little small, but doing ones where if I'm going to walk around a show, I'm going to do something like go up and down like Artist Alley and see all the art that's out, or meet the creators of the books. I don't really have a lot of interest in, like, look at this TV celebrity.
Like, go into panel discussions.
Even panels can be fine if they're led by interesting people, but you can get me interested to be like, hey, stand in line for 6 hours to watch this 2-minute trailer for something that's going to leak online in 10 minutes.
Well, true, but Nerd Alert, I would definitely, if given the chance, like a Star Trek The Next Generation panel, that'd be fun to sit in on.
Yeah, something like that where it's not current. So, starting off our kind of week news, you can tell it's weak, with story number 1. Lost in Space is coming to Netflix in 2018 for a 10-episode season, I think.
Danger, Will Robinson.
No, when I first heard it, that movie that came out like late 90s.
Oh, that was
one of the worst damn movies ever.
Movie.
Look at that. Do you remember that CGI monkey?
Yes, the CGI monkey.
Awful.
Was it? Who played the bad guy? Was it Alan Rickman was the bad guy in that? He was in Galaxy Quest. Who was the?
Yeah, I love that movie though.
Who was the bad guy? And
I don't.
Who played him?
I know who the bad guy is.
It was like a cast of like not really well-known people.
That was like Gary Oldman, Matt LeBlanc.
Ooh, yeah, Matt LeBlanc. Gary Oldman.
John Hurt, wasn't John Hurt in there?
John Hurt may have played Dr. Robinson. Hold on.
Papa Robinson.
Lost in Space. Wow. This is like some of the original episode titles. Episode 23, The Great Vegetable Rebellion. That's some quality,
This is some nasty
quality
carrots.
stuff. Lost in Space, 1998 was when that movie came out. And let's see, cast recruit. Yeah, William Hurt was John Robinson.
Oh, I said John Hurt. Did the wrong Hurt.
Phoebe Rogers was in it. Heather Graham, Gary Oldman, Matt LeBlanc. Jared Harris was in that. Jared Harris was he played Ulysses S. Grant in Lincoln, but you know him better as Professor Moriarty, Sherlock Holmes: Game of Shadows.
Oh, no, I know him best from Mad Men. Then he hung himself and dated that black chick. Not in that order.
Oh, I never watched Mad Men.
You missed out. You missed out on a lot of sweet suits and a lot of sweet whiskey.
He was also in the Box Trolls, in case you cared.
You know what I noticed about the show? We have words that we go to all the time. I say sweet so often.
You do say sweet a lot.
Every time I say sweet, take a drink, folks. You'll be drunk in 10 minutes.
I can't have a repeat of last night.
Hey, if the audience only knew how many you knows I cut out on your end.
You know.
No. Usually, yeah, I do. I usually know.
All right.
But you remind me.
It's that kind of this week, huh?
But no, I thought...
Do we know who's going to be in it? Or do they just know it's been greenlighted for...
Yeah.
Netflix is making a really good deal here with their TV series that they have. But it also, I think, speaks to the American conscience, like, that you can just get a whole series, a whole season at once and sit down and watch it. I really do enjoy the aspect of when I was watching like episodic TV more regularly. Like Sons of Anarchy was the last like series I watched on TV. You like look forward to like the next week. You wanted to like know what was going to happen next, but I think there's something satisfying in that wait of the week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean different things work different ways. Netflix pumps out enough good stuff. I don't know. This was one of my first time like really lost in space. I'm like, actually, you know what?
It's classic.
It's a survival story. I mean, if you just say like, hey, family lost on an alien planet, especially with the technology that exists today and storytelling opportunities, you know what? Lost in Space seems like a good one to bring back. Do it.
Yeah, well, again, we've said it before on the show. Everything old is new again. Star Trek reboot.
Well, funny enough, Lost in Space is my namesake.
Really?
Yeah, my
Dr. Zachary
Smith, I guess.
Yeah, he's the bad guy.
My folks got to the end of the like name your baby book, got lazy, said we don't want to read this again. They're like, oh, I recognize that name. That was that pedophile on Lost in Space. Let's name our kid that.
Wow.
Thanks, Mom.
Wow. You're some of your biggest support for you starting the store, and you throw them under the bus on the podcast saying that you're named after a pedophile.
Kind of, yeah. Well, they got to the end of the book. They're like, I don't want to look at that book again.
Well, also Z names are at the end of the book.
But yeah, that was basically like last page. Like that name looks familiar.
But
Remember that TV show?
Your middle initial is A, though.
No idea where that came from.
That's the other end of the alphabet.
They went back to page 1.
Yes.
And they kind of cover some of the stuff that's going to be discussed because we'll be hitting it up later. Luke Cage is going to be at San Diego Comic-Con. They're going to have the first time the cast is coming together, which, new Netflix series. I'm looking forward to it. There's not a lot to say because they haven't really done a lot. There was that quick tease at the end of Daredevil Season 2. But I mean, we've seen him in Jessica Jones. I really like the cast. What's his name? Mike Coulter, something like that. He's strong, and it's going to be nice to get more into the street level kind of Hell's Kitchen-y stuff. The other side of this is ABC is also going to be doing their S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4 panel.
The look of sadness and like dejectedness on your face is phenomenal.
Some people love S.H.I.E.L.D., and at this point I feel like I'm trapped. It's like I've put so much time into
you can't not watch it.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe. I missed it all, like the last half of the last season. I just didn't watch it. Now it's on Netflix, and I'm getting caught up. I'm like, man.
Are you binging through it?
No, I can't binge through it because I can't
bear
it for that many hours. I'm slowly suffering through it.
It had a strong start, but it didn't really hook me for very long afterwards. I feel like they kind of blew their load early to like, hey, look, it's Marvel, and you get Marvel on a weekly basis, and now it's like, oh shit, we got to do Marvel on a weekly basis.
Oh, they just give me Villain of the Week. That's all I want. I don't care about any of these people, and mostly I want them to die.
That's really cold-hearted.
It's not a good show. Some people love it. Some people swear by it. It's a show that they suffer from the 22-episode format. If this was like a 13-episode season show, it would probably be strong. It wouldn't be like amazing, but it would be a strong show.
Like once every other week?
There's so much filler. It's painful.
But it also does its job in helping to advance the MCU, so... It
doesn't really do anything anymore. But it looks like they're teasing... There's on a bus. But what was notable on the bus is there's a flaming chain. So, like, maybe they're doing Ghost Rider this season. Like, damn it, you got me back.
Just when I thought it was out, they pull me back in. What movie?
Godfather 3.
Attaboy.
It's a bad movie.
Well, it's got good points to it. It's got good moments.
When cousins hook up? Is that
No.
good? Do you enjoy that?
No, I don't enjoy that. I like when Joey Zaza messes with those two dudes that come in.
Or when that orange falls out of Al Pacino's lap at the end to a comical effect.
Well, because every time someone has an orange in the Godfather series, they die.
I know. It became a comical cliche by the end of it.
That's hanging a lantern in a big way at the end.
Oh my god, it's just like it's like listening to all their ideas drop.
I'm pretty much saying the Corleone family killed the Pope or was involved in the killing of a Pope. That was kind of hard to buy.
So that's 50-50 for me. We're going to get Luke Cage, which I'm excited about. We're also getting S.H.I.E.L.D., which I'm sad about.
It wasn't Joey Zaza, by the way, that messed with those two dudes. It was Vincent. Sorry, I had to correct myself.
Look, here's the deal. I watched Godfather 3 once, and once was enough.
Which one's your favorite Godfather? This is a good topic.
2.
Godfather 2? I'd agree. Have you ever seen the Ultimate Cut where they splice 1 and 2 together in chronological order?
No, I don't want to see that. I want to see it how it was meant to be done. Look, we're going to get into a story all about how the things are told in a non-linear
Dude, you want to talk about somebody
fashion.
who's like mind is spinning right now? That'd be me.
Oh, what? Because you read Watchmen in an afternoon?
No, I sped read through it.
I know.
There's a naked blue dude, and it's crazy.
Hey, well, yes, that's the main point of Watchmen, nudity.
Yes.
The company that I think has the most interesting looking panel, I mean, we knew that Marvel was going to have a TV one, but the Starz Network, they're going to have an Ash vs. Evil Dead panel, which I loved the first season of that, but they're also going to do American Gods, the Neil Gaiman book, which is getting its own series. There's not a lot to say. These are just things I'm excited about. That's this news segment.
Just getting excited.
Things I'm looking forward to in a couple of weeks to talk about.
One of them is not Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
No. They could get me back. That show, that's the problem. It ebbs and flows. It's good, and then it's terrible. Then it brings you back, and it's like, no, we'll be good again. Like, all right,
It's like
you've built some goodwill, and then it lets me down.
It's like a toxic relationship.
Cuts me out. It's not a good show.
I'm sorry.
It's hurt me. With boredom.
There you go. Tom Felton? Flash. Yeah. Some Flash news. You love the Flash.
I'm just reading my notes.
I'm trying to push the show forward.
Who's Tom Felton?
He's an actor.
You know him. He's the douchey kid in Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, he played Draco Malfoy.
Yeah, that's the one.
And he's gonna be in the Flash?
Yeah.
Oh, he's not gonna be the Flash though.
No. He's playing a character who doesn't have a real name in the DC universe. Julian Dorn. He's supposed to be another forensic analyst who doesn't quite buy all of Barry's BS.
Barry can move at the speed of light. He can make his particles and atoms vibrate to fall through things.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're doing Flashpoint, so he's on as a series regular for at least season 3. I don't know. As long as the Flash doesn't do he's a mentor of Barry who then betrays him, twice as your max Flash. You get 2. You can't do it a third time.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you can't fool me again.
Yeah, that one, okay, 2 seasons of that, that's fine.
I know that's not how the saying goes, I'm just...
Yeah, you've reached your limit, Flash. I don't know. I haven't seen this kid in a lot. I saw him in those Harry Potter movies, and I saw him in Planet of the Apes. Seems fine.
Yeah, I mean, he's a pretty good actor. I think he'll be serviceable in his role.
Maybe he won't be playing a giant dickhead in this show like everything else I've seen him in.
With the slick back hair and the sneer look. And
yeah, I mean, in Planet of the Apes, he played a nasty fella.
Not everybody can be happy. There has to be people that play bad people. Alan Rickman's most famous for what? Being a bad guy. Think of Alan Rickman's best roles. Aside from the Metatron in Dogma, where Alan Rickman played a good guy.
Galaxy Quest.
That was enjoyable.
I love Galaxy Quest. Are you kidding me?
I'm not saying it was... Okay, so that's 1. 2. But what do you like... When you think of Alan Rickman...
So you told me not to name one, then you said the other one doesn't count.
So, okay, Alan Rickman. What's the first movie you think of when you think of Alan Rickman?
Love Actually.
Oh, come on. Piss off.
No, never. It's never Love Actually.
I'm going to reach over there and slap you.
No. That's more effort than you want to put into it.
Yes.
This is a long couch.
Yeah, I know. I've moved it on more than one occasion.
It's true, you have. At least 3.
In the most awkward places through the most narrowest of passageways. Alan Rickman, what's the first movie that comes to mind?
Oh, you cannot do Die Hard.
Attaboy, that's the correct answer. If anybody else listened to this podcast, said Alan Rickman, I said, Alan Rickman, what movie? And you said something other than Die Hard, I want you to email the show your address so I can come to your house and verbally berate you.
You could just do that over the phone.
Yeah, well, it's better in person. I want to see the reaction on their face.
But that's that. We'll see what's going on with The Flash. We've got a couple of clips that came out this week. First up, we had our first clip from Star Trek, or I think it's the first clip. What did you think?
Not giving too much of it away. I think
it was a clip. It was a 40-second clip.
It's a 40-second clip. I don't know. It was typical lighthearted moment. It's probably going to be one of the comedic moments in there that they work in. It was good. I love me some Bones, though.
You're being more forgiving of it than I am. I'm like, this is your first clip. This should be your best foot forward, and that was meh.
Yeah, it was a cheesy moment from the movie. It's probably going to be a forgettable moment in the movie overall. But do you really want to give your best thing away for free?
You got to give people wanting more going into that. I didn't want more. I was like, less of that.
Well, there's so much action. There's so many action sequences in the trailer, in all the trailers that we have for that movie. I think they did a good thing by not releasing some action. Maybe like a dramatic sequence where Kirk maybe has a showdown with the bad guy. I want to save that for the movie, dude.
Here's the thing. So the scene, and I don't want to talk about it too much because we got a lot of Trek to talk about in the next couple of weeks.
So excited.
I know you.
Getting into my friggin' wheelhouse finally.
One of my favorite things about the original Star Trek was the odd Kirk, but then you essentially Bones and Spock were the two sides of Kirk, and those two would argue all of the time. It was the rational versus the emotional, and so far in this series of movies, it's only been Kirk and Spock, and Bones has been essentially cut out of it. So seeing...
Oh, no, I don't think so.
You don't get that. The three of them just with Spock and McCoy just going at it.
What do you want them sitting around a campfire at the base of El Capitan singing Row, Row, Row Your Boat?
That wasn't an ideological discussion. That was just a bunch of fat men singing next to a fire.
We have to have a thing called the campfire sing-along.
No.
Can we also talk about, I know we're going to, but the fact that Kirk was doing a free ascent of El Capitan, why? At his age, and Spock's rear entry ski boot jetpack?
No, God damn it, no.
Was that an odd numbered Star Trek?
Yes.
But the odd ones are good. That was the one.
No, it's the even ones that are good.
Is it the even ones that are good? Oh, yes, because it's the evens that are good. Sorry.
But we'll see. I don't know. It kind of left me... I'm going into this movie hopeful. I've mostly enjoyed...
Is this going to be an odd number or an even number?
Oh, God.
I'll look it up.
10, 11, 12, 13. This is an odd number.
Oh, boy.
We'll see. They just gave up every other movie. Like, look, people just expect us to be bad. But the last one was bad, so they're due. Well, the clip we got that I love, that I'm so excited for, we got our first clip from The Killing Joke.
That was a pretty good clip. It was a solid clip.
And you haven't read the book yet, which, side note, you're going to read the book.
Okay.
Hey, man, it's Alan Moore Batman. You can't go wrong.
Is it easier than the Watchmen?
Yes, it's easier to digest.
Thank you.
So much easier to digest.
I mean, I'm still so confused.
Hey, I know, you gotta soak Watchmen. You gotta read it over and over again. You gotta take it with you.
I mean...
No one understands Watchmen fully. I promise no one understands it fully.
But it's one of Time Magazine's 100 best novels. And it won the Hugo Award.
It did. It won a lot of awards.
Anyway.
But, so we got this Killing Joke clip, and right off, we get Kevin Conroy back as Batman. I love that. So good. It's like coming home. It's like a warm, comfort Batman blanket. It just wraps me up, takes me in, fills me with his voice.
That's mildly disturbing.
I like Kevin Conroy.
Okay, fine. I was disappointed in the clip because I was excited to hear some Mark Hamill.
Oh, yeah. And he didn't.
There is no Mark Hamill.
No, but the lines that Kevin Conroy is doing, I almost pulled out the book to see if it was word for word, but if it's not word for word, it's 9
Makes you
out
feel
of
like
10
it's
words.
word for word, yeah.
Man, that's right onto the book, and I'm excited. And I don't want to, I've said it a little bit on the show, but I don't want to give away why I'm excited to see this book specifically in a visual format. But
it's the very medium is a visual format. You mean like a movie format?
Yeah, because there's things that you can do in the comic that leave things intentionally ambiguous, which I don't think you can do it as much with moving pictures and sounds, where you can't
Those
have
fancy moving pictures.
Yeah, the level of ambiguity that the book has, you can't do on film, and I'm curious to see how those things are going to be done. If it's going to, and you know what, honestly, that might make it terrible. Those moments of ambiguity might be left better as ambiguous. We'll see what it can do as a movie. But damn, that clip got me excited. It looks good.
It does look good. It looks entertaining, and I look forward to watching it on your 4K TV.
And I like seeing Batman back with the underwear on the outside.
And the most important part about all this, we can watch it in comfortable pants.
I know. So stretchy. Hey, it's what I want. Dark Tower set photos came out last week. Well, they've been coming out for a little bit, but now we've seen McConaughey playing Randall Flagg and Idris Elba playing the Gunslinger.
And, they look the parts, too. They look the parts. Although, last time we really saw Randall Flagg in a movie, remember The Stand?
Yeah, I saw that.
But he was
a 4-part
miniseries,
yeah. I liked that. It was good.
It was good. Gary Sinise was in it. Who else was in it?
I don't remember it that well, but I remember enjoying it.
Stephen King but the guy who played Randall Flagg was mostly wearing denim. In this one, he's got this black look, chest cut out.
He's the man in black.
He's the man that looks badass.
What's the first line of the Dark Tower series? Shoot, I forget it. Something. The man in black and the gunslinger followed. I forget what it is now. Yeah, I'll remember it when the show's done.
Yes, probably. That's edit it in later.
Well, no, that's the problem. Like doing some of this stuff, like in the moment, like it doesn't feel like pressure, but when you're trying to think of it, you just can't. And then when I'm like listening back, I'm like, it's this idiot.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't think of
just
those
like
words.
You should have fired right off when I say Alan Rickman. What movie do you think of? It should have been Die Hard. You shouldn't have been like, the.
It was Love Actually. Why the thigh?
This was the closest thing to me.
I stand by. I think that the Dark Tower is going to be a sequel to the books. We'll see if I'm right or not. We definitely get to see that a big part of the Dark Tower is they go into different worlds and dimensions and all that stuff. And this is definitely these characters coming into the modern world. There's no two ways around it based on what we saw in the photos.
Oh, yeah, there's a FedEx truck in the background.
But Roland, for those who have read the book, Roland has all of his fingers. So maybe, I don't know, the sequel idea still stands.
Well, you couldn't see his right hand very well.
You couldn't. Yeah, he has all of his fingers. He gets those hacked off by like a dog-sized lobster. It's a thing.
Hey, I mean, it's Maine, man. There'd be monsters out here.
They do come to Maine for a little while.
Well, why wouldn't they? I think every Stephen King book has something that happens in Maine.
Not everyone, but yeah, they come to Maine for a little bit. They get hit by a van. It's a thing.
Well,
Stephen King is also hit by said van. It's this whole thing.
Well, Stephen King got hit by a van.
I know. And
that's why he wrote about it.
Yeah, I know. And fictionally, one of the Dark Tower characters saved him.
Oh, yeah,
in the books. That's what happens.
Oh, okay.
It's like, no, Stephen King, and then they die.
Well, I worked for Stephen King for a while.
I know. We already covered that on the show.
I'm just reminding you.
Last bit of news. It's small, but it's a thing. Thor has begun filming in Australia.
Australia?
I don't know.
Who's the director?
I can't pronounce his name.
Oh, didn't we have this discussion before? Because Kenneth Branagh did the first version.
Yep, and then Alan Taylor from Game of Thrones. They did Terminator Genesis, and don't give him any more movies.
Yeah, we did a Thor episode, didn't we?
No, we haven't done a Thor one.
I thought we talked about Thor at some point.
I'm sure Thor has come up. Conversationally,
this is episode 15. There's a lot. 15 episodes, 15 weeks.
Yeah, people come into this like, oh, you said this and this. I'm like, I did. I'm sure you know better than I do.
Listen, I get that from students all the time. You said that. I know. I don't remember saying that at all. So, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I feel like the listeners of the show can say, 25 minutes into the show, you said, yes, Jared, you're the best friend I've ever had, and I'm glad you're doing these podcasts with me.
I never said that.
Damn it.
There was kind of a clickbaity article that came out this week. The director of the movie, he was like he says he doesn't care. He says it's just another movie. It was so damn clickbaity. But what he said was because he's only done smaller flicks up until this point, he's like, hey, it turns out that doing a big movie is just like doing a small movie. All the people are there who know their jobs or there to collaborate, and it's going to be a good process, have a personal feel. But there's tons of sites on the internet that's like, he hates Thor. Blah blah blah. Shut up, Ragnarok. Damn you so hard. Clickbaity websites.
Well, there it is.
I've worked for some clickbaity websites. It's unpleasant.
You did?
Yeah, it's and you'll get I'm not gonna say where, but I've written for sites in the past who are like, here are some article topics, figure out what it is, and they're all just they just come up with clickbait titles and then say go figure it out.
Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know you did. Excuse me, I didn't know you did freelance work like that.
Yeah, I've written for. In college, I wrote for sites that didn't pay me, and I paid for some sites that have paid me. But there's some that are just here's your clickbait article, go. Thanks. I feel...
Did you have a pen name, or were you by Zach Bowen?
I don't think I ever used a pen name. It's all... You can probably all find it if you Google search it. It's not that exciting.
Oh, there we go.
But
that's like me saying I was a telemarketer once.
Were you? What?
I was, yeah, in high school. Yeah,
why? How?
There was a call center in the town I grew up in, and I... Funny story, actually. 2 funny stories. I was the main thing we sold was phone upgrade, and then I was doing really well on that, so they put me on life insurance, and they would
Are you ready to die?
It was similar to that, and that's why I was no longer allowed to do life insurance because I had this person. I felt like I was gonna close the call. I was gonna be like, yeah, all right, made the sale, And the guy's like, I really don't know. I'm like, well, you never know when you're going to die. He hung up. And then the person listening to the call said, you need to come and we need to discuss this sales tactic you used. It's a pretty hard sell right there.
Is it true that telemarketers can't hang up on you unless you insult them or curse?
You're not allowed to ever hang up.
I thought that was it. Oh, it's so fun.
You can't hang up.
Take that away with you, listeners. Use that as your special little treat. Tuck that away in your brain and just mess
But
with
you can
someone.
also, if you ever got a call from a telemarketer, which is telemarketing still a thing?
Oh, yeah, I get it all the time at the store. Are you kidding?
Yeah, say you say that you want to be placed on the do not call list, and they have to put you on a list of people that cannot be called.
No, oh my god, I get it all
Which,
the
like,
time.
recycles every, 8 months, 10 months.
I don't think it's that long. Cause
I also had a guy named Jesus once, but I said, is Jesus there? Because it said Jesus on the screen. I was a junior in high school. I didn't know any better.
that wasn't smart.
No, it wasn't. I got in trouble for that one, too.
I was good at this job. I don't think you were good at this job.
No, I hated every minute of it. I hated every minute. It was not worth the $8.50 an hour.
No, very little is worth $8.50 an hour.
Well, back in 2002, I mean, $8.50 an hour for a high school student was significant, but it was 21 hours a week. So,
breaking my heart.
yeah, because I had to give up my Saturdays to work there. I don't know. I hated it. Hated it.
All right, kids, that's going to do it for the news for this week. Well,
We all learned something today.
I feel like we grew as people.
You know, we both had douchey professions at one point,
Or I wrote for clickbaity websites,
and I harassed people on the phone.
and I got paid by the pound because I guess they were based out of Europe, so I never quite knew what I was making until it transferred.
Not as much as you thought you were.
It's changed.
Hey.
The pound was worth more back in the day when I was writing.
Yes.
That being said, kids, we're going to get into my favorite segment of the show, Jared's Reading Corner.
It's Jared's Reading Corner.
Why are you growling at that? That's the happiest theme song we have.
I just, this book perplexed me, and I had it for such a long time.
You did.
And it's my own damn fault that I waited to try and read it.
I gave this to Jared 3 weeks ago. He read it 4 hours ago. So what we're talking about this week is we're going to be digging in to arguably the greatest comic book of all time, depending on who you are. Probably the most complex comic of all time.
I would agree with that.
We are getting into Watchmen. And Jared's someone who's never read the book. He's never seen the flick. He's going in untouched. We get to find out the side of things from someone who's never been touched by the glory of Watchmen. It opened up his mind, penetrating one of the words. We get to hear about his first time.
Your first time isn't always necessarily your best time.
No, Watchmen takes some dissecting.
There were parts of it like it felt like it followed like a formula of stuff you've had me read. They're superheroes. How should we treat them? These guys are vigilantes. The main superhero has a crisis of conflict. He leaves. Everything goes to hell in a handbasket when he's gone. Then he returns, and there's some government overlord who's a troublemaker.
Well, they touch on architects in this. This is the deconstruction of the genre. This is moving things along. We're going to touch on some comic history before we get into the book a bit, and we can't even really touch the book directly because that would take forever. It would be too damn long. The comic was written by Alan Moore, illustrated by Dave Gibbons. I'm going to talk about Alan Moore a little bit. He's a crazy man.
I couldn't tell by his picture on the back.
He worked for DC back in the day. He's done some self-published stuff, but Alan Moore is really one of the architects of bringing comics into an adult world. This came out in 86, and this is one of those books kind of side by side with Dark Knight Returns that really changed the format, changed the medium, changed how people look at these books. But he's someone who lives in Northampton, and he just likes to do mind-altering drugs and have tantric sex with a lot of people while praying to the Roman snake god Glycon.
Wow, that explains a lot of the stuff in the book then.
Yeah.
There's a lot of poontang in this book.
And he's one of those guys, like, now he's, like, super reclusive in, like, his weird gothic mansion. But he refuses to even autograph anything. If you're like, hey, will you sign this? He's like, capitalism, blah, blah, eBay, blah, and goes off and smokes a ton of weed.
That's exactly what he says.
Yeah, no, he growls at you like a bear, goes and smokes some weed, and does... I don't know what else he does in his house.
I don't know, but there were a lot of naked people in this book.
So
Alan Moore was the writer. He didn't do any of the art.
No, that was Dave Gibbons.
Yeah. The art was good. I like the art.
Yeah. So what ended up happening is DC Comics acquired all of these characters from a defunct comic book universe, Charlton Comics, and Alan Moore went, hey, I want to use these characters to do this story. And DC said, no, we want to incorporate these characters into our own universe. So he literally just did a paint job on newly acquired characters and said, okay, I have something new now. But he didn't. For those who kind of know DC, I mean, Dr. Manhattan was Captain Atom, Rorschach is the Question, Night Owl was Blue Beetle, stuff like that. Within the book itself, there's a lot of repeated objects and symbols. Alan Moore said he took that from William S. Burroughs. He took symbols that would become laden with meaning the more and more they were used throughout a narrative. He also designed this to be the unfilmable comic book story, which of course it was filmed in 2009. They played with the format of comics in a way that no one has really done effectively before or after, where you get stuff like Under the Hood, which is a novel written within the comic itself, or you get a comic within a comic in Tales of the Black Freighter, which reflects what's happening in the book itself. And there's also a level of symmetry that I don't think has, when I say I don't think, I'm positive has never been duplicated. You get 9-panel structure and everything, so 3x3. And what this is supposed to do, it's supposed to limit the perspective of the reader, so you're not being told how to feel. You have to interpret it for yourself. And then within that, all of those 9 panels there's a symmetry between pages, there's a symmetry between issues of how the story is structured. Narratively, visually, it's insane. You could dig into it deeper. I fell down, because I had to kind of remind myself of all the Watchmen stuff, and I fell down a rabbit hole of just reading theories and essays, and oh my god, this book, it'll blow your mind.
Here I am trying to comprehend this, and I'm pulling my hair out, and like, why is this blue man not wearing pants? Why are these two people having sex? Why is everybody so mad at each other? How the fuck did he end up on Mars?
And I'm like, do you want to talk about like absolutionism or morality and all that? Like, or the concept of time. How about time, reality as we perceive it?
Doomsday
Jeez,
clock
oh my
going
God.
on.
The whole thing is, it will just take you.
When you said it was dense, I didn't believe you. I was like, it couldn't be that bad.
I told you, like, start reading it 3 weeks ago because it's going to take some time. You got to dive in, dissect. It's going to...
Now I feel like I want to watch the movie, though.
Yeah, and I don't think the movie gets enough credit, but the problem when the movie came out, so it was directed by Zack Snyder. The trailers were a little ill-informed. They were going to, like, Smashing Pumpkins songs in the trailer. What's going on there? But then the movie comes out, and then they're like, oh, here's a director's cut of the movie. And then also, if you're interested in the theatrical version, here's a motion comic that you can watch of all of Watchmen. And oh, and also here's an animated version of Tales of the Black Freighter. And here's another cut of Watchmen that has the director's cut interspliced with Tales of the Black Freighter. I'm like, too damn much. Easy does it. This a lot of stuff coming out all at once.
Yeah, it's very overwhelming. I think that was the thing about this is it's like there was a lot of it that's overwhelming because there's just so much stuff happening.
Stuff? Did you get German on me?
9.
But I don't know. I don't even... God, how do you talk about Watchmen? Well, you tell me. So you read this thing. What happened?
So, I mean...
I don't mean like what happened with the book, because there's no...
What happened?
There's no way we could touch it. So you're reading it. How did you react to this book? This...
I don't know. It was
masterpiece.
It was grittier than the stuff I've read before. I mean, obviously, a lot more gritty than like New Frontier, which is like all about hope and a change.
No, this is not about hope. This is about morality and choice and free will.
It's gritty. It's dark. It's sometimes it's ugly because you look at things, you're like, wow, this is kind of really eerily accurate for a book that was written in the 80s that takes place in an alternate 80s.
Yeah, I mean, what they do in this book is they take. What is the psychology of, and this is something that's been done a million times, like take something like Kick-Ass as a more recent example, but what would superheroes be like in the real world? This is taking the psychology of how would people actually justify being a vigilante.
Yeah, there's a lot of getting it on in this book. It's like an adult, it's more like a rated R movie, and you've had me like watching like PG-13 movies and PG movies. Dr. Manhattan's like getting it on with his girlfriend, but there's like 2 of them. I didn't figure that part out. I don't know.
Because he can duplicate his body. So, but then she gets mad at him because it's only like a passing thought that there's like 3 of him making love to her. Well, in reality, he's off working on one of his projects, and it's just this afterthought of
he's going about it the wrong way, dude. Like if I could clone myself, I'd send my clone off to do my work, but that's just me. I don't know. I liked. It had some. I liked it. It was dark. It was gritty. it really made you think about, like, okay, what would it be like with superheroes here? And then, explaining the unexplainable. And I don't know. But like I said earlier, it followed some of the same tenets of some of the same story arcs of stuff you've had me read. Somebody believes that there should be some oversight, and that person dies, and it becomes like, well, who killed them? And the good guys are kind of like the bad guys, or seen as the bad guys. I mean, people were thinking that Dr. Manhattan was causing cancer, so he had to go to Mars.
My favorite character out of this book is probably the most morally reprehensible. I think the comedian is the most interesting character in that book. And the comedian is the worst. He's a murderer, a rapist, maybe killed JFK.
I like Rorschach.
Yeah, Rorschach deals with this sense of absolute morality of things have to be
black or white.
Black or white world entirely.
Which is his character. He's black, and his black or white ink blot test. I liked it.
And here's what I want to throw this out as random Watchmen fact. So Alan Moore writes this book, and they say, okay, cool. You can write this book for DC, that's fine, and you will get the rights back for these characters as soon as it's out of print. It has never been out of print, and it will never be out of print. Alan Moore will never get this back. The copy I have, I bought like 10 years ago, and that was, when I was looking at it earlier, it was like the 21st printing of it. I have no idea what it's up to now, but I promise you it's more than 21.
Let's see, original printing was in 86.
It will never go out of print. Alan Moore has also completely disowned himself from the idea of Watchmen and of DC in any of his books. He hates the idea of film adaptations. He doesn't accept money for them. He refuses to have his name on them.
Somebody's going to get some money for it. Somebody got some money for it. I don't know. I thought it was interesting to see also, like, what brought Dr. Manhattan back. It's a different look on, like, why the heroes do what they do. And it was like his want to examine the human condition, which is like, I rewatched Amazing Spider-Man 2 the other day because it was on TV. So it's not like a rewatching, but it was on. And it was really interesting, like at the end, like why Peter Parker decides to go back into fighting crime. It was, because of Gwen's speech.
What a specific speech that was.
Yeah.
We're all gonna die.
But it's like
really dour for a high school.
Yeah, but it was also, by the way, favorite movie graduation speech is the one from Jack.
I haven't seen that since the 90s.
I
remember, he's a super old man when that happened.
He had an aging disorder.
Yeah, but I mean, by the time of graduation that comes around, isn't he look like he's like 90?
Oh yeah, he's like really, really old. But he's like 18 years old mentally. But like his body was like...
Yeah, it's been a long while since I've watched Jack.
But, no, like... This was interesting. Like, look, I felt like it's a different reason why superheroes do what they do. Like, it's not the great power, great responsibility kind of argument that you get from some of the other like superheroes. Like, you have the ability to do this, so you have to. This was like really intrigued by the normal human condition. That's why he does what he does, as opposed to like, I have these powers, so I have to do something.
Well, I mean, there's a bit of that. Like, the comedian's like, look, this is something we have to do, but it's a bunch of crap, right?
Yeah. Which, like, to me, like, it's like that premise of, like, I have these powers, therefore I must do something. That's like the good, say eat your vitamins, wash behind your ears message for kids, as opposed to, like, this is real. Like, it had a real feel to it. Like, I'm going to, like, go home and, like, see this naked
question your sense of morality.
Well, I mean, I do that anyway, but it certainly did not take this comic book to do that for me.
This is really... One of the things I was saying to you before the show is Alan Moore is really on top of hairstyles. They have like the man bun is a thing.
Oh yeah, but they're top knots.
Not dots, and
not tops.
And I've said that out loud a couple times. I'm talking about the man bun not intentionally. It's like this neo-Nazi group, and I accidentally call hipsters neo-Nazis. It's not intentional, but
I don't think it's a good thing to call them neo-Nazis.
I didn't do it on purpose. Alan Moore just beat him to it. It was ingrained in my head.
So you should model your life after Alan Moore? Is that what you're saying?
No, he has to be terrified to be Alan Moore.
I didn't quite understand like the Z or the N, whatever the thing that looks like a bomb. This thing here, is that like that's his transport? Because like he had, like, I've seen that. You see that throughout the book a little bit. Is that how he got people from Earth to Mars? I'm trying to remember.
I think it's just the idea of the repeating shape. More than anything, because we have that circular repeating shape that started with the pin and it continues into here. It was just really their way of, like I said, trying to repeat symbols that become laden with meaning as the book goes on.
I think it was also hard. It says on the back that, it's the book that changed the industry and challenged the medium. If you've never read a graphic novel, start with Watchmen.
I don't think you should start with this one.
When
we get to the medium before you can actually read Watchmen.
I think that's part of my problem is I haven't read very many comic books, so that's what made this harder to digest.
I mean, if you, at this point, enough movies are out there that you kind of get it.
I get the gist of it, but
boy, they mess with your head
different.
hard.
Oh yeah, I feel violated mentally.
Well, I mean,
part of it is because I quickied it as opposed to like really giving it its due diligence, which is probably going to get me some flack, and I accept that.
Did you? Oh, I saw that you had a tweet. Did you notice the main reference?
No.
One of the Minutemen from the 1940s, I think it was Mothman, where they said he ended up in an insane asylum in Maine.
Really? Someone
tweeted at you. They said,
I need to do a better job of responding to the tweets.
They were like, Jerry for Watchmen, did you see the main reference or something like that?
Hold on a second here. I'm pulling up my notifications here. Editor's note, at Junior Rich, how's Watchmen going? Okay, yeah, from old school.
Yeah.
Who watches the Watchmen? Jerry 6 does. Yeah. I'm gonna favorite it. There you go. Actually, I'm gonna respond to his tweet right now.
I missed it recording the show. Sorry, LOL. Jerry for nothing.
At Old School Ross, and saying, talking about this very thing as we record the show. Sorry for the late response.
It's like you're writing your grandmother like a late thank you note for Christmas.
But it's gonna be like, he's gonna listen to the pod, like, hey, it's like your parents send you a text and they call you, hey, did you get my text message? Yeah, you just sent me a text message. Why are you calling me now? Oh, just read your text message I just sent you. You might as well just tell me at this point. Hashtag disturbing. When I went to go put a hashtag on, it gives you like a list of current hashtags. 1776 Trump, Long Live Skin, and National Bikini Day are trending.
I don't want to know how those things are.
Should I hashtag National Bikini Day?
No, that has nothing to do with it. Please don't wear a bikini. It's a terrifying
image. Jerry 12.
Jerry 12. Taking it back.
Damn right.
I didn't turn my phone off.
Oh, yeah, you didn't. You may have just gotten
I just got a tweet by you.
There you go. Yeah, so anyway.
So one of my things...
That's really intriguing podcast material there.
Yeah. So at the end of the book, we have Ozymandias sends down his giant space octopus.
You called it something else off air, but we'll stay with it.
Look, it's a giant space vagina.
There it is.
It is what it is.
Yes.
I didn't do it. I didn't make it.
All right, but he does his thing.
Just call it for what it is.
I love that like, while this is happening and like everything is like being decimated, the panel of like the day the Earth stood still movie is playing. I liked that a lot.
So at the end of the book, Ozymandias sends down his space octopus. It kills a bunch of people. People of the world unite. He thinks that he's victorious. But Rorschach, who has all this information, can't live with it, and he's going to go out, tell the world Dr. Manhattan has to kill him. But his diary slips away into the hyper-conservative newspaper. Now, here's my question.
Yes.
Because the book leaves it ambiguous. Well, really, two questions. One, who do you think was right? And two, did they publish that journal?
Ooh. Well, I mean, I get what...
Because there's no right or wrong here. The book leaves it 100% ambiguous.
I think that did the ends justify the means in regards to what Ozymandias was doing? Not when it caught, like, again, New York's a shitty place to be, man. Like, everything bad happens to New York.
Look out for giant space octopus.
I get that he's trying to unite the world, but again, like, it's that concept of uniting in fear and anger, and it may feel positive, but when you're uniting out of fear and anger and retribution, is that really uniting on a grand purpose? I don't think so. So I don't think the means do not justify the ends. Maybe it's just me. I'm not about killing half the population in New York. That's just...
So is Rorschach right?
I mean, I don't know. That's the part about this book. It's like hard for me to like figure out, because I get what they're both trying to do. Because
Rorschach goes to that black, everyone dies. He kills so many people for things that others might try and correct or go to jail for, or half a dozen other preferred legal ways versus throwing your cannibal dogs through a window.
Straight up vigilante violence.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know if there's an answer for who's right in this book and who's not.
I don't think there is an answer.
Isn't that fun? Isn't this a good book?
And did they print his journal? I'm going to say yes.
I think that would make the world more interesting if they did.
And I think it would help. If anything, it would help further Ozymandias' desire to unite the world.
What do you think about the whole concept of time in this book? Because what I said to you was, like, hold this book in your hands. You can flip forward, you can flip backwards. This is how Dr. Manhattan perceives time himself. And this is not a linear book. Which is why we're not going through, like, well, in the beginning. Because what are you doing? You can't.
I don't know. I like it, kind of like Pulp Fiction. I like the non-linear.
Kind of, yeah.
I like that kind of jumping around. Although, like, the first time you watch Pulp Fiction, you're kind of confused as to, like, the order of how things go. I don't know. It kind of, I think, because I was reading it so quickly and I'm not used to the genre, I felt jerked around. But I think that's probably why it's supposed to feel that way, because maybe that's how Dr. Manhattan feels. They could just jerk around.
I wouldn't want to get it all up front. Like, so Watchmen stands alone as these books, but then a couple of years ago, DC did this whole series of books called Before Watchmen, which were all these prequel books to all the separate characters. And I didn't read it. It wasn't like an active like rebellion against it, but at the same time, I don't really want to know. I think too much information can be a bad thing, and I don't need
like we talked about
this book.
Like we talked about with, we don't need 900 Indiana Jones movies, because it's nice when they stand alone and they are what they are, and it's a nice, neat little package, and you have
we were given
this sliver of that universe, and you don't need to expand the universe.
Well, for this book, we were given the information we needed, and I don't want to build on that. It's like we were told everything that was meant for the story, and I don't need to know everything about these characters. And ambiguity is left to be a nice thing. I mean, think about, let's just go with a bigger example, Vader. Think about Vader. All we know about Vader, big bad dude just comes into a room, you know he's badass. You don't know what's going on with him, but then we learn that he's a little kid, we're like, yippee!
See, that's also part of my problem with Star Wars, as much as I love Star Wars, and don't think this is, oh wow, Jared says he hates Star Wars and he's tearing Star Wars apart. The universe has gotten so massive from all the fiction that was written. I mean, it's all fiction anyway, but from everything that was written after the original 3 movies, before we got the prequels in the 90s, that, all of this backstory was already told, and there's so many different Star Wars stories and books that it's so hard to narrow it back down to its original form and the original canon. And I think sometimes it's really nice to just have everything nice and neat, and it's fun to play what if as a fan, but that, like, to actually have some of that stuff happen, kind of.
So, what do you think of the what if of the U.S. won Vietnam?
See, like, I was actually, okay, interesting sidebar, by the way, which there's always at least one in the show, because I'm a history buff. Over the weekend is the anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg, and so being the nerd that I am, instead of reading Watchmen, I was actually watching, and this is really, I'm not ashamed to admit it, but I was watching a video of somebody who had been to Gettysburg, because I've always wanted to go to Gettysburg, of a ranger talking about the Battle of Little Round Top, which to us Mainers has significance because of the 20th Maine and Joshua Chamberlain are involved, and they did the bayonet charge to win the day. So
save your ass, America.
So as I'm coming full circle to the, what I thought about America winning in Vietnam in the book, I don't know. I don't always, the ranger made a good point, because somebody asked him, well, what if, do you think if the 20th Maine didn't make the bayonet charge, would that have changed the battle with it? And the guy said, it's really, you can't play, revisionist history. What if happened that, because you can't do that with some stuff. You can't look back and say, well, if this happened, then all these, because there were so many other moving parts to things. So I don't know. It's an interesting concept.
I liked having the comedian being like, I think if we lost this war, it would have broke us as a nation.
Well, guess what?
I don't
the
know.
war itself was breaking us as a nation, though. Like, I don't know. It's an interesting perspective. It's, I like that it's an alternate timeline.
How'd you take the stuff, like playing with the structure of a comic book? Like, we're going to throw in a comic within a comic. We're going to throw a book in here. We're going to throw in a psychiatrist's notes about.
But that was like Shakespearean, though, like a play within a play, because that's in Hamlet.
Yeah.
So, the play is the thing in which will catch the king. I felt like this drew on so much. It's so overwhelming, because there's so much stuff from so many angles, and it's so. I mean, a lot of things are familiar stuff, like, a story within a story, or like, think about the Itchy and Scratchy show on The Simpsons. It's a show within a show, and it has its own little culture and its own little.
They usually just throw that in there to fill up the show to 22 minutes, so if they're like 19.
But you know what I mean.
I'm just throwing the facts.
Thanks. Well, I'm trying to think if what's another one where like, there's like a little, you get little.
Yeah, no, I get you.
But no, I get the purpose of the Itchy and Scratchy Show is to fill time, but it has its own little culture. It has its own little following. You know what I mean?
So so now you've read this book. Do you think, because you haven't seen the flick, do you think this is a filmable comic?
To take everything that's in this book and boil it down to under 2.5 hours would be very tough.
It's more like a 3-hour movie. It's a long movie.
Well, 3 hour regardless. I mean,
when I said, you're like, can I just watch the movie? I'm like, you can read the book in probably less time than it takes to watch the movie.
well, that's true. I think I might be able to glean more out of the movie. I may have to borrow the movie.
I don't know. I like the movie. It doesn't get enough credit. It came out at this weird point in 2009 when comic book movies were just kind of on the way back. Like, we got Iron Man, we got Dark Knight, and then we got, out of nowhere, Watchmen, which deconstructs the whole genre right when things were starting to build up again.
But you're like encouraging me to watch a movie that has a lot of blue alien wang.
That's all I encourage you to watch.
It's like pterodactyl porn.
Blue balls all the way. It's all I want.
I mean, I get it. It's, for arts and effects, but like...
No, but think about it. There's at least 1 or 2 people who are working on that staff who their job was to make sure that junk had the right amount of bounce.
You don't think it was like a stunt penis involved? Like, some guy like, what's your job? Oh, I was, I
don't think it's
you'll know me from such movies as The Watchmen. Oh, yeah, what were you? I was Dr. Manhattan's penis.
This isn't Troy McClure.
Exactly.
You might recognize me from such films as...
Good pull. Good job on the pickup.
God, I don't even...
But
Smurfs do Manhattans.
Literally, that's a nice job of tying the blue people and Dr. Manhattan all together. Maybe he is like the father of the Smurfs.
Or Avatar.
There's no blue wang in Avatar.
I was going to try to think of
They at least had the decency to put on a loincloth. Dr. Manhattan like walks around with this junk hanging out and then maybe puts on his little like Borat thong. And
which is the biggest takeaway you should take from Watchmen? There was wang.
Yes, there's a lot of sex in Watchmen.
There's not.
There's more sex than the other things you had me read.
Yeah, definitely.
There was no sex in Turtles. There was no sex in New Frontier. What else did I read?
Civil War.
There was no sex in Civil War.
Yeah, there is. I mean, sexuality plays a role in Alan Moore's work. If you want to see some really weird stuff, you can go read Lost Girls. He did that. He wrote that with his wife, and that was, what characters was it? Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, Alice from Alice in Wonderland, and Wendy from Peter Pan. They're all old women, like in their 80s, who tell their stories to one another, except it's all just, it's porn for comics. It's just them all...
50 Shades of...
Yeah, it's just these 3 fictional characters retelling their stories, like, all as, like, sexcapades. Like, Alan Moore's sensuality definitely plays a big role in his books.
I mean, again, that's why it made it feel grittier, more adult. It was like, it was the first rated R comic.
Well, also, I mean, it deals with some serious stuff of, like, especially with Night Owl, like, needing to put on a mask, otherwise he's impotent.
That's, yeah. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. I don't know anything about that. Some weird stuff going on with that dude.
Hey, Dr. Manhattan, could you hook me up with some blue penis power? Yes, I just said blue penis power.
We call that Viagra in this world.
Bravo.
Little blue friend.
Bravo. All right, so...
I don't know. This is a masterpiece. This isn't just about wangs. This is a deconstruction. This is art. This goes beyond the medium.
I think for me, it would probably take another reading of a few months.
It takes more than one. I mean, you go through Watchmen.
Maybe I got to watch the movie and then
it would probably help with at least giving you kind of a starting place.
Can't hurt.
No, but damn. So the reason that I wanted to bring up Watchmen in this show, Watchmen is a pillar. It was one of those rules of comics. You don't touch Watchmen. Watchmen stands on its own. It is what it is. But recently, with DC Rebirth, Watchmen is back. For the first time ever. So going out of Rebirth, Wally West, my all-time favorite Flash, comes back into play. It's like someone took 10 years from us. Someone has changed reality. And then Batman pulls out the comedian's pin.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and then some dialogue is lifted right out of Watchmen. At the end of the book, when Dr. Manhattan is talking to Ozymandias, he's like, nothing ever ends, Adrian. I think I'm going to go create some life on my own. And all that. And the beginning of Rebirth starts with Wally talking about, I think he said his father was a watchmaker. And the book ends with a watch being reconstructed. And what we got is the Doomsday Clock. Watchmen is back. Well, God, this is the first time it's really been touched aside from those prequel books before Watchmen. But they're bringing it into DC universe for the first time. It's ballsy.
It is. It's very interesting. It'd be interesting to see how they handle it and see what they do with it. Can they be as gritty, or will they camp it up?
How can you fight something like Dr. Manhattan, though? I mean, even these characters that are gods, and even this book deals with the idea of hero worship. How do you go up against something like Dr. Manhattan?
Captain Atom, man.
Touch that.
Captain Atom.
Just send Captain Atom after him, like, hey,
I know you.
you're awfully familiar.
What the hell?
You can't keep a title going, can you? No.
Oh.
Poor Captain Atom.
Too soon?
No, his title sucked. It's okay.
Yes.
But I don't know. Watchmen is back, and Watchmen. I've had people come into the shop who are like, I don't really care about DC, but I know they got Dr. Manhattan in there, and I love Watchmen. I want to know what's going on.
Read the book.
Hey, if you want to find out more with Watchmen, I think the book that's going to deal with it the most looks like it's going to be the Titans title. And for the first time ever, it looks like Titans is going to be DC's flagship book versus something like Justice League or Batman or whatever. But yeah, go read Titans. That's where they're going to be dealing with all the Watchmen and Dr. Manhattan stuff. Hey, whatever. I'm excited for it. If it's done right, great. If it's not, then Watchmen will still stand by itself, and I can just go back and read Watchmen.
There you go.
As I do every couple of years.
Good for you.
Yeah, you can.
I got through it once.
There's a couple of books. There's a few that I'll revisit every few years. Like, in Watchmen's one of them. Like, all right, it's time to
be the hardest thing you have me read.
Easily.
Oh, thank God, it gets easier.
There's nothing as complicated as Watchmen. It's hard to do reading recommendations because just go read. If you haven't read Watchmen, what the hell's wrong? If you're listening to this show and you haven't read Watchmen, what's wrong with you?
You're listening to this show. That's what's wrong with you.
Yeah. But if you're interested in seeing where
you wait for every Wednesday with bated breath to hear us.
I don't know. Watchmen is one of those ones. It's top tier. If you haven't read it, go to read Watchmen. It's not going away.
My recommendation would be don't try and cram it in.
Yeah, God, no.
Take your time with it. Enjoy it. Savor it.
Boy, can you not speed read Watchmen? That's impossible.
I did.
Yep.
And it was miserable. I would give it I'm going to give it a thumbs up for my reading corner.
It's hard not to.
It's hard not to.
Like, God, this book is.
But I also feel like you're not going to give me trash to read either. Like, here, read this and tell me what you think.
Well, that's the I mean, Watchmen's one of those books. Like, you read it and you're like,
give me read one like The Bug.
Like you're Ambush Bug.
Yeah.
God, if you understood Ambush Bug.
Here, I want you to read The Flea. Wasn't there a character The Flea?
I'm sure there's been something.
Ant-Man.
Yes, there's definitely an Ant-Man. Many Ant-Men.
Here, I want
from Hank Pym to Eric O'Grady.
The Yellow Jacket.
Also Hank Pym.
Wow, he gets around. Here, I want you to read this. This is called The Oak Leaf. His power, he flutters.
Go check out Watchmen.
Do we have any letters to the editor this week?
That's what I got to pull up.
Oh, all right. This is good that people write letters to the editor.
You should. All right, you ready?
Yes.
Short and sweet. I should really show you these ahead of time.
You should, but I like the aspect of not knowing ahead of time.
All right, it is time for letters to the editor.
Here's your letters to the editors. To submit your questions, email us at editorsnotecomics@gmail.com.
What are each of your top 3 badass characters? Not strongest per se, just bad mofos.
Okay, so are we talking strictly comic book or like...
I think, yeah, given the show is coming from a comic book store.
I haven't read very many comic books.
You've watched a movie. You've watched a movie or two.
Okay. Straight badass.
Straight badass mofos. Just bad mofos.
Bad mofos. See, whenever I hear bad mofo, I think of Pulp Fiction, Jules in Pulp Fiction. Give me my wallet. Someone says bad mother on it. I self-censored there, too, for the family show.
Appreciate it.
I'm going to have to go... Casey Jones is going to be on that list.
Raging alcoholic, all right. Moving on.
Wolverine.
Raging alcoholic, moving on.
There's a theme here. Tony Stark.
Oh, God.
3 for 3, there you go.
Recovering alcoholic.
There you go.
Drives that suit drunk.
Yes.
Who's the most metal?
Metal. Batman's pretty badass.
Yeah, I mean, that's an easy one because he kind of has that whole best of everything on. Because not only is he super smart, he's also in the best shape ever. So he's the best of everything at just terrifying you. I would say something like the Punisher.
Ooh, the Punisher's pretty
one shot, one kill kind of deal.
Oh yeah, gets stuff done.
All he wants to do with his life is just be a good soldier and kill everyone evil.
Yes. Oh, who was that guy in Civil War that just killed?
The guy in Civil War who killed.
Who wanted to just kill? It was Civil War, wasn't it? He joined. Was it the Punisher? He joined Cap's team.
Oh, sorry. I thought you threw me because I thought you were talking about the movie. Yeah, that you were talking about the Punisher.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then Cap's like, we're not gonna be killing people around here, and he goes out and kills somebody.
Yeah, and then he's like, what? They needed to die. My bad.
Oops.
Let's say Galactus, because Galactus he's not necessarily bad, but he has to eat planets to live.
Is it the Silver Surfer? No, the Silver Surfer.
Yeah. No, it's the dude that the Silver Surfer works for.
Oh yeah, the Silver Surfer goes out in front of him, like he's like scouts the planet.
Yeah, he's like, hey, just here to chow down.
Yeah.
By the way, you all have to die, so I can live.
Don't mind me. I'm just, the Silver Surfer showed up tomorrow, I would be upset.
Yeah, that'd be bad. Then we'd die because someone would eat our planet.
Yeah, that would not be good for you or me.
No, bad in general. Okay, so I say Punisher, Galactus. Let's try and throw someone from DC in there.
The Joker's pretty badass. He's just crazy.
Yeah. In my head, I keep on going, no, not that one, but I'm going to just say it anyway. Deathstroke. Deathstroke is the character who's what DC stole from to make Deadpool. He's kind of an unstoppable mercenary, but someone who takes himself a lot more seriously. Slade Wilson. Slade Wilson will kill you with a gun, a sword, whatever he wants to, and he does it with an eye patch. And why does he have an eye patch when he has a healing factor? I don't know. Maybe just because he's a bad mofo.
Nick Fury's a bad mofo. I'm going to say Nick Fury. That way it ties in to Jules from Pulp Fiction because they're both played by Samuel L. Jackson. Yes! I win.
All right, that's what I got. Punisher, Deathstroke, and Galactus because he likes to eat planets.
I chose 2 alcoholics and a guy with an eye patch to not be one up by Zach's eye patch having guy.
Yeah. Deathstroke versus Nick Fury, the fight no one asked for.
But everyone's going to want to know.
Deathstroke.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
there we go.
But Nick Fury faked his own death. That's pretty badass.
And has a lot of LMDs running around as Nick Fury.
Well,
Life model decoy. It's a robot thing.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, good for you.
Thank you. Was that our only letter to the editor?
Look, I want to save what we got. If you have your own letters, tweet right in.
Where can we find you?
EditorsNoteComics.com on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at EditorsNoteComics, on YouTube, Google Play, iTunes.
Are we on Spotify yet?
I saw that. Is that a thing I gotta look
You can do podcasts on Spotify, yeah.
Not Spotify yet.
Working on it.
I'll get there. One more place. The Google Play one is getting no attention either, which is fine. We have a lot of iTunes listeners. Google Play, no one.
Well, it's early. It's we're 15 episodes in.
I just think it's funny how little Google Play gets.
Spread the word.
It's like, we're here. No, we're doing.
We should do some sort of contest where you get to meet me. That's not really a good prize, but it's a prize.
I just want to talk to people. I just hear about people saying things behind my back.
I should probably go in and try and reset has the high score on the pinball machine been changed?
I took that away. I don't know what it is right now.
Oh. Because it was mine for a while.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go back in and reclaim my title.
All right, where are you at?
You can find me on Twitter at JuniorRich.
Some people have found you.
They have found me. I actually responded to my first listener tweet during this show.
You did it. We were here.
You're doing it.
Yeah, you just I tweeted him and he didn't respond.
Yeah, he hasn't tweeted me back. Maybe he's got a life. Yeah. Oh, wait, there's a text message. What's this?
No one knows your number. They didn't text you.
Oh no, it was somebody else. It wasn't the guy who calls me Jerry Six.
That'll do it for this week. We will be back next week with more comics and movie goodness and
Star Trek.
Yes, we're doing Star Trek next week.
Yes.
I don't get. I know something. Stop that. No one can see that. Stop slapping your own thigh. You slapped mine. You slapped your own.
It's not a blue wang. I'm just making the Vulcan sign.
He is. He wants to live long and prosper.
Damn straight.
We'll see you next week. We'll do some Trek stuff. Bye.